A Chessima chess. In the PogChamps Championship, we saw an interesting match between Rainn Wilson and Michelle, and we know that Rainn Wilson played Dwight Schrute on The Office, for which he received a salary. So by definition, he is a paid actor. And it is true that in the second game he threw his queen away. But did he also throw the game? That's the question. And if so, why would he do that? To answer the first question, did he throw the game, we will take a look To answer that first question, we will take a look at the first game that he played, and then I will just try to speculate a little bit about the second question afterwards. So Rainn had the white pieces, and he opened up with pawn to e4. Michelle answered c5, the Sicilian defense, and Rainn exclaimed, "Oh no, not the dreaded Sicilian defense." And Michelle got a little anxious because she had hoped, she said, that Rainn would not know this opening. So already on the first move, we have Rainn giving away the fact that he has some chess knowledge. He knows, for instance, the name of this opening. He develops his knight. Michelle develops her knight. And here he plays a tricky move. He plays b3, the b3 Sicilian. And this is tricky. He knows that one of the common Sicilian setups is the dragon setups with g6, which Michelle played in order to fianchetto the bishop, and he knew it was probable that she would go for this. So he plays the b3 Sicilian, get on the long diagonal first, so that now Michelle cannot play the fianchetto of her own bishop because it would simply be taken. She sees this and instead plays knight f6 to block the diagonal. This position is about equal, but Rainn has some initiative here. And he seizes the day and pushes pawn to e5, attacking this knight. Michelle goes back to g8, and Rainn pushes again pawn to e6. And believe it or not, but here Michelle would have actually been fine had she just played knight to f6, blocking this diagonal. It's true that our Rainn could play e takes f7 check, but king would recapture. He would lose castling rights, but he would be able to castle by hand, which means that you just manually put your king on the right square. So the knight, you could have the knight on f6, and then you just go rook to f8, and then king g8, and then you have castled by hand. Michelle did not see this, however, And if you want to learn a little something, a little good trick, it is do not look at the hand. Don't look at the hand. Don't look at the hand or the mouse moving this pawn forward. That's not relevant. What's relevant is what position it leaves. So he didn't move this pawn because he was interested in capturing here. He moved it to discover an attack from the bishop towards the rook. So Michelle, unfortunately, watched the hand and she got punished. So she captured the pawn with d takes e6, which hung the rook in the corner. Bishop takes rook. So already Rainn has a winning advantage. But in these PogChamps games, with all these beginner level players, we have of course seen that a winning advantage out of the opening can deteriorate very quickly. So let's see how accurate Rainn will play here. Michelle plays knight to f6, maybe trying to block this bishop in. Rainn says, well, the damage is done, so I guess I believe in. And he just captures the knight. Bishop takes f6. It's recaptured with e takes f6. And Rainn is absolutely happy with that little trade there, because he's still up a rook. So actually the trade helped him. So how good is Rainn really? Does he know the chess principles? One of the principles is knights before bishops. And he knows that one. He plays knight f3. Michel plays bishop to d6. Sensible developing move. And now it is time for Rainn to develop his bishop. Where does he put it? He puts it on a very good square on b5, pinning this knight. So he has played flawless, and when Michel tries to kick this bishop away with a6, he simply trades with bishop takes c6 check, b takes c6, and he is still up a rook for a pawn. So he's absolutely fine with just developing his bishop in order to trade it off for a knight, because it underlines his advantage of being up in material. Does he know all the chess principles? Well, one of them is castle before you get in trouble, or rokade før der bliver ballade, as we say in Danish. And he knows. He castles kingside. So Michelle cannot castle, but she can try to develop a rook, which she does with rook to b8. And now we again ask ourselves, how well does Rainn know his chess principles? Well, you have to get the last major piece into play. It's time for the queen. It's the last one before the rooks. But how do you do that? well, he also knows that in chess you're supposed to take the center. And Michel has a little bit of control here on this in the center, which is basically the only thing she had going for her in this game. Rainn plays d5. This is immediately captured with c takes d4, not d5, I'm sorry. And here you could capture with the queen or with the knight. Capturing with the knight is not bad. Knight takes d4 with threaten, c6 with a fork on the rook and the queen. But Rainn is a very principled chess player, it seems, and he plays queen takes, which is the superior move. This queen is extremely strong in this centralized position, can shoot in all directions across the board. A centralized queen is one of the most powerful things you can have in chess. Michel does not want to accept this queen here, so she plays c5, chasing the queen away. But Rainn retreats with the tempo. Queen to h4, attacking h7. Michel sees this. Kudos. She's playing pretty well defensively after the initial blunders. h5. So how principled is Rainn exactly? Well, he's played pretty flawless so far. Let's see what he comes up with. He plays rook on a to e1, like so. And this invites one of the last pieces to the party, because if you are having a great party, you want all your friends there, right? It develops the rook on the open file, pinning the bishop to the queen, gets one of the last pieces into play. Pretty much a perfect chess move. And here Michel comes up with an interesting idea. Because she plays queen a5, saying, okay, you can take my bishop, but I will take your knight on c3, and on c3 I will be protecting f6 on the long backwards diagonal. But Rainn says, I'm not going to capture your bishop. I'll not fall for your trap. I will capture on f6 first. So he is really not making any mistakes at all. Now Michel plays a pretty nice move. She needed to solve the problem of this bishop being attacked, so she moves it out of the way with tempo, attacking the queen. So she plays bishop to e7. Rainn plays queen h8 check, gets out of the attack with tempo. Michel blocks bishop f8, and Rainn plays his queen back to e5. And here he's attacking this rook, but even worse than that, Michel makes a mistake. Pretty big mistake here. She captures on e2 with the queen. And I actually found, looking over this game, that it is better actually to capture the rook, because you have a forced checkmating sequence there. But of course, it also wins to do what Rainn did and just capture the queen with the knight. Like so. And now there's really no hope. In a beginner level game, you can always hope for a little magic with the queens on the board. But once you lose the queen, it's very hard. The rook is attacked by the queen. Rook b6, getting out of the attack. But Rainn just plays queen c7, attacking the rook and the bishop. It's a fork. And he's playing with deadly precision here. There's no good moves. Michel tries rook to d6. This of course leaves the bishop on c8 to be captured by the queen. Queen takes c8 check. If you go back with the rook, it's mate in one, just capture with the queen. So Michel played king e2. Then we saw rook takes e6. King takes e6. Queen takes f8 check. And king to c6. And even here, in this situation, where he's up so much material, Rainn did not play sloppily or inaccurate at all. He played rook to e1. Not even trying to come in with a knight with a check. He's weaving a mating net. a5 from black. It's not really. These are just moves. They're not doing anything. But the next move is instructive. c4. Now why did Rainn play that? He played that in order to take away the b5 square as an escape square for the king. Many people, especially beginners, think that when you are trying to checkmate the king, you should give check, check, check every move. No. What you do is you weave a mating net around the king. First you build an enclosure to the king that it can't get out of, and then you just give the final check, which will be checkmate. There are not many moves here. King b6, rook e6 check, king c7, queen e7 check, king c8, rook d8 and checkmate. And that was the first game. And that was total domination by white. Now Rainn did not make a single mistake. He didn't even make a real inaccurate move during the entire game. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Rainn is an actual chess player, and I'm pretty sure he's going to win PogChamps. So the question then becomes, why did he lose the second game? And why did he almost lose the third game when he's able to play like this? And I think that he's basically just a really good guy who loves chess and who's very friendly And who would not want to give Michelle, who is a chess beginner, a bad experience? I think that's quite. I think after the first game, he realized that he's mismatched, that he's way better than Michelle and probably all the other in the tournament. And he then thought, okay, Michelle seems to be enjoying chess and she's getting into it, and this event is also great for promoting chess, and he loves chess. So he didn't want to discourage Michelle. He didn't want to discourage viewers by just crushing and dominating. Instead, he wanted it to like be a real fight, and he wanted it to be interesting and entertaining to watch as well. And I know this feeling myself. I only really enjoy winning in chess when I beat somebody who is better or at least as good as me. I derive absolutely no pleasure from winning against inferior opponents who might not be as experienced as me or may not know like the particular opening trap or whatever it is. Especially if they are beginners, because so many people try out chess on these 64 squares, this beautiful black and white jungle, and they just get crushed by somebody who doesn't offer them any counter play at all, who doesn't give them any pointers on how to play, who just dominates them. And then they just think, why should I play this game? This is not for me. This is not fun. And then they don't play chess anymore. And we lose a good chess friend. So I think that's the explanation. It could also be that Rainn was just a little lucky in the first game and was really in his zone. Because if you look at the third and final game, the second and third game, it's not impossible to play the moves Rainn did. It's not impossible to make those kind of mistakes. But combined with his very gentle and humble and friendly demeanor when talking to Michelle, I think it's quite likely that he played the first game to the best of his ability, and then when he was sure he would win the match, tried to make everybody have a good time, including Michelle and the viewers. So he was in a tough position there, because of course it's not nice to be dishonest like that, but he was in a hard position, because what else could he really do to not give Michelle and the viewers sort of a bad experience? So I appreciate it from Rainn, and I'm looking forward to more games, and I'm looking forward to seeing you my friend, in the next video. Thanks for watching.